I was arranging pastries in the display case when the bell above my cafe door chimed. Looking up, I froze. My sister Emma stood there, pale as if she'd seen a ghost. In a way, she had. Sophia. Her voice trembled. It's impossible. I straightened slowly, my heart pounding. 10 years had passed, but I'd recognize my little sister anywhere. The last time I'd seen her, she'd been 13, crying at my funeral. "Hello, Emma," I said quietly. She stumbled forward, reaching out to touch my arm as if to check I was real. "But we buried you. I saw your grave. Dad visits every year on your birthday." "I'm sure Diana made it very convincing," I replied, naming our stepmother. She was always good at putting on a show. The cafe was empty except for us. I flipped the CLOC sign and led Emma to a corner table. My hands shook slightly as I poured 2 cups of coffee. "I don't understand," Emma whispered. "There was a car crash. They showed us the death certificate. Your burned driver's license. All fake. Diana had connections." I took a deep breath. What she didn't count on was me building my own life, becoming successful enough to show up on Instagram. Emma pulled out her phone, showing me the post that had brought her here. My hands crafting a latte. My cafe's signature rose design in the foam. My distinctive birthmark visible on my wrist. "I thought I was hallucinating," she said. "I've been standing outside for an hour, working up the courage to come in." I went to my back office and returned with a thick folder. I've been keeping records. Everything Diana did, everything she hid. Want to know the real story? Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "It started when Dad married her," I began. "I was 14. You were 11. Remember how quickly she moved to become executor of Dad's estate? She said it was to protect us if anything happened to him. No, it was to protect herself when she planned to get rid of me." I pulled out the first document, a trust fund statement. "Mom left us each $5 million to be accessed when we turned 21. Diana couldn't touch your money because you were too young to pose a threat. But I was asking questions about the accounts." Emma's hands trembled as she read the statement. "This says you withdrew the full amount 2 months before the crash." "I never withdrew anything. Diana forged my signature and moved the money offshore. She needed me gone before I turned 18 and could legally challenge her. But the crash was staged. The burned body they claimed was me. Dental records were faked. The death certificate? I pulled it out. Look at the signature. Dr. James Morton. Look him up. He lost his medical license 3 months later for falsifying documents." Emma's coffee grew cold as I laid out the evidence. The fake accident report. The insurance payout that disappeared into offshore accounts. The private investigator's photos of Diana meeting with the corrupt doctor. "How did you survive?" Emma whispered. "Diana's brother picked me up from school that day. Said Dad had been in an accident. He was taking me to the hospital. Instead, he drove me to a private airfield. Said if I ever contacted anyone from my old life, they'd make sure Dad had a real accident." I swallowed hard, remembering that terrified 16-year-old girl. "They flew me to Canada, dumped me with enough cash for a month and a fake ID. Said they'd know if I tried to come back. Why didn't you go to the police?" "With what proof?" "I was a minor with fake documents. Diana had the death certificate, the accident report, even a judge backing her story. And I believed their threats about Dad." Emma stared at her hands. "Dad, he was never the same after we lost you. He barely leaves the house now. Diana manages everything." I bet she does. I pulled out bank statements. She's been bleeding his accounts dry for years. The company's nearly bankrupt, but he doesn't know because she controls all the paperwork. How do you know all this? I built a life, Emma. Put myself through business school. Started this cafe chain. And I hired people to watch, to gather evidence. I got everything documented. Every fraud, every theft, every lie. Why come back now? Why let me find you? I smiled sadly. Because Diana's getting ready to finish the job. She's arranged for Dad to have an accident next month. A sailing incident. Everything's prepared. The insurance forms, the grief counseling appointment, even the funeral home contract. All prearranged. Emma's face went white. How could you possibly know that? I reached for my phone, pulled up an email, because she hired the same people to arrange it that she used for my death. Except this time, they came to me first. Why would they do that? Because I own the company now. Through shell corporations, different names. I bought it 3 years ago, started gathering evidence on all their clients. Diana doesn't know she just hired her stepdaughter to arrange her husband's murder. Emma's hands shook as she reached for her coffee, then set it down untouched. What are we going to do? First, we're going to get Dad somewhere safe. Then, I pulled out one final document, a federal investigation request with Diana's name on it. We're going to take everything from her, just like she took everything from me. She'll fight back, Emma warned. Let her try. I'm not a scared 16-year-old anymore. I touched the folder of evidence, and this time I have proof. Emma reached across the table, grabbed my hand. I still can't believe you're real, that you're alive. I am, and I'm home. Diana thought she could bury me. I smiled grimly. She's about to learn that some ghosts come back. A text lit up my phone. My investigator confirming Diana's latest meeting with the accident planners. Everything was recorded, every word documented. Ready to help me save Dad? I asked Emma. She squeezed my hand, ready to help me get my sister back. Outside, the sun was setting on my cafe's window sign, Rose and Thorn Coffee Co., the name I'd chosen years ago, remembering the roses Diana had arranged for my funeral, and the thorn of vengeance I'd been sharpening ever since. Time to show my stepmother that roses aren't the only things that can rise from the dead. The next morning, I walked Emma to the evidence room behind my cafe's kitchen. 10 years of surveillance photos, financial records, and recorded conversations lined the walls. A decade of patience, building my case piece by piece. How did you afford all this? Emma asked, staring at the sophisticated surveillance equipment. Remember Mom's antique jewelry collection? The one Diana claimed was stolen. I pulled out an old sales receipt. She sold it through a private dealer. I tracked him down 3 years ago, bought everything back at triple the price. Then I sold it to fund my investigation. That's why Diana went ballistic when she saw me wearing Mom's old locket last Christmas. Emma realized. She thought it was lost forever. She's been sloppy lately. Getting confident. I pointed to recent photos. Look who she's been meeting with. Emma leaned closer. That's Dad's doctor and his financial advisor. Both on her payroll. They've been slowly convincing Dad he's sicker than he is, while she drains his accounts for medical expenses. A knock at the door made us both jump. My security chief, Marcus, entered with a tablet. We've got movement. Diana just booked a flight to the Caymans for next Tuesday. Right after Dad's accident is scheduled, I noted. Any transfers? Started moving money this morning. Small amounts, different accounts. Classic exit strategy. Emma gripped my arm. We have to do something now. We will. I pulled up a calendar. Dad still goes to his club every Thursday for lunch, right? Yes. The only time Diana can't make excuses to keep him home. Perfect. I turned to Marcus. Get the team ready. We move tomorrow. The next day, I watched from my parked car as Dad's familiar silver Mercedes pulled up to the Southampton club. He looked older than I remembered, slower as he eased himself out of the driver's seat. Diana's systematic destruction of his confidence showed in every careful movement. Security confirms Diana's at her spa appointment, Marcus said through my earpiece. 2-hour massage package. Emma? In position, my sister replied. Though I still think I should tell him about you first. No, we stick to the plan. Get him to the private room. Let him see the evidence first. I watched Dad disappear into the club, Emma following 5 minutes later. My heart pounded as I waited. 10 years of planning came down to this moment. He's reviewing the files. Emma's voice came through soft. He's crying, Sophia. I closed my eyes, fighting back my own tears. Stay with him. I'm on my way. The club's private dining room fell silent when I entered. Dad stood by the evidence table, holding a photo of Diana meeting with the accident planners. He looked up, and the photo slipped from his trembling fingers. Sophia? Hi, Dad. He stumbled forward, caught himself on a chair. But how? Diana faked my death, I said gently. She stole my trust fund, threatened to hurt you if I ever came back. His face went through a cascade of emotions: shock, joy, rage, grief. I've visited your grave every month for 10 years. I know, I was there sometimes, watching, wanting to tell you but afraid of what she might do. He turned to the evidence table, voice hardening. Show me everything. For the next hour, Emma and I walked him through it all. The faked death certificate, the stolen money, the offshore accounts, his company's secret bankruptcy, and finally, the planned accident. She's scheduled your sailing accident for next Monday, I explained. Everything's arranged. The tampered boat, the Coast Guard report, even your funeral. My God, Dad sank into a chair. I trusted her. Let her control everything. Because she manipulated you, Emma said softly. Isolated you. Made you depend on her. While my daughter was out there alone. He looked at me with agonized eyes. I failed you. No, I took his hand. You were a victim too, but now we can stop her. How? I pulled out my phone, showed him the offshore account tracking. She's starting to move money, getting ready to disappear after your accident. But I own the company she's using to arrange it. Every transfer, every plan, every conversation, we have it all. The police are already involved, Marcus said from the doorway. FBI too. We've been building the case for months, just waiting for her to make her final move. Dad straightened, a glimpse of his old strength returning. What do you need me to do? Act normal until Monday. Let her think everything's on track. Meanwhile, we'll move your real assets to secure accounts. When she triggers the transfers for her escape, we trigger the trap, Emma finished. Dad looked around the room, at me, at Emma, at the evidence of his wife's betrayal. 10 years, he whispered. 10 years of grieving while you were out there alone. Not alone, I corrected. Building, planning, making sure she could never hurt our family again. He pulled both Emma and me into a fierce hug. My girls, together again. Sir, Marcus interrupted gently. Diana's spa appointment ends in 20 minutes. Dad straightened, wiped his eyes. Then let's get to work. Time to show my wife what happens when she threatens my children. The next 3 days were a careful dance. Dad played his role perfectly. Frail, trusting, oblivious. Diana never suspected that her private calls were being recorded, her secret meetings photographed, her every move tracked. Sunday night, I sat in my surveillance van watching Diana make her final preparations. She walked through the house, checking details, making calls. Through our bugs, I heard her confirm the boat tampering, the Coast Guard bribes, the getaway plans. Money's moving, Marcus reported. She's starting the transfers. I smiled grimly. Let her. Every transfer goes to accounts we control now. Emma's voice came through. Dad's in position. Safe house is ready. Good. I watched Diana through the cameras. As soon as she confirms the last transfer. FBI teams are in place, Marcus said. Local police too. She's not getting away. I touched the locket around my neck. One of Mom's pieces I tracked down and recovered. 10 years of playing dead. Time to show her what resurrection looks like. Dawn broke over the Southampton marina as Diana arrived for her endgame. She didn't notice the unmarked cars, the hidden agents, the cameras recording every move. She reached the dock just as her phone buzzed. Confirmation that Dad had boarded the sabotaged boat. Her smile was cold as she turned to leave. Going somewhere? She froze at my voice, turned slowly. No, she whispered. You're dead. I made sure. You tried. I stepped forward. But I'm my mother's daughter, and she taught me to fight back. Diana lunged for her car, but FBI agents emerged from every direction. As they led her away in handcuffs, I saw the moment she realized. Every plan had failed, every escape route closed, every dollar gone. The money, she snarled. What did you do with my money? Your money. I smiled. Check the accounts again. Every penny you stole, every trust fund you looted. It's all back where it belongs. With the family you tried to destroy. Dad appeared beside me, strong and clear-eyed. Emma took my other side. The Bennett family sends their regards, I said softly. All of us. As Diana's car disappeared toward FBI headquarters, Dad squeezed my shoulder. Let's go home, sweetheart. Home. After 10 years, the word finally felt real again. The media storm hit within hours. Did HEIREAUTURNS. Millionaires WHTER. XPOSES. DKE long FRAUD. The headlines screamed across every network, each outlet desperate for exclusive details of the scandal that rocked Southampton's elite society. I watched from my cafe as reporters camped outside Diana's bail hearing. The charges were devastating: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy to commit murder, and a dozen other felonies. Her perfectly maintained facade cracked as they led her into court, her designer outfit replaced by prison orange. She's requesting a meeting, Marcus informed me, sliding a note across the counter. Says she has information you need to hear. No, I continued wiping down the espresso machine. She's looking for leverage. Let her talk to the FBI instead. Emma rushed in, bringing a gust of autumn air. You won't believe what they found at the house. She spread out photos from Diana's hidden office, false passports, offshore account details, and most surprisingly, files on other wealthy widowers. She's done this before, Emma said quietly. 3 times. Marry rich men, arrange accidents, vanish with the money. Dad wasn't her first target. I studied the photos, but he was supposed to be her last. The biggest score. Miss Bennett? A tall man in a suit appeared at the counter. Agent Phillips, FBI. We need to discuss your mother's safety deposit box. I froze. My mother's what? A box in her name at First Maritime Bank. Diana tried to access it multiple times over the years. We'd like you to come with us to open it. The bank's private room felt too small as the box was brought in. My hands trembled slightly as I inserted the key. Mom's old house key that I'd kept all these years. Inside was a single envelope and a USB drive. The envelope contained a letter in Mom's elegant handwriting. My dearest Sophia, if you're reading this, my suspicions about Diana were correct. I've been gathering evidence of her involvement with Arthur's death. Her first husband. The USB contains everything I found. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from her, but I knew you were strong enough to protect yourself. All my love. Mom, your mother was investigating Diana? Agent Phillips asked. I nodded slowly. She died in a car accident 2 months after writing this, 2 months after Diana married Dad. That accident might need another look, he said quietly. The USB revealed Mom's meticulous investigation. Diana's pattern emerged clearly. Target wealthy men with children, isolate them from family, arrange tragic accidents, vanish with the fortune. But Mom had seen through her and started documenting everything. Diana must have found out. Emma whispered as we reviewed the files. That's why. Why Mom's brakes failed that night? I finished. Yes, and why Diana was so thorough about getting rid of me when I started asking questions about the accounts. Dad joined us that evening at the cafe after another grueling day of untangling Diana's financial web. He looked both exhausted and energized. The company's salvageable, he announced. Once we recover the stolen funds and restructure the debt she created. But that's not why I'm here. He pulled out an old photo album. Found this in Diana's storage unit. She didn't destroy everything from your childhood, Sophia. She kept trophies. The photos spilled out. Birthdays, holidays, school plays. 10 years of memories she'd claimed were lost in a move. My throat tightened as I saw Mom in many of them, her smile bright, her eyes watchful. She was trying to protect us, I said softly, even at the end. And she did, Dad replied. She raised a daughter strong enough to bring down an entire conspiracy, to come back from the dead and save our family. Emma raised her coffee cup to Mom and to second chances. Second chances, I echoed, then paused as my phone buzzed. Another text from Diana. You don't know everything. Meet me, please. I showed it to Agent Phillips, who had stayed to review Mom's files. He frowned. Could be important information about other victims. Or another trap, Emma warned. I stared at the message, thinking of Mom's letter, of her courage in facing Diana's true nature alone. I'll meet her, I decided, in prison. With full security and recording. It's time to hear whatever she thinks will save her. Dad gripped my hand. You don't have to. Yes, I do. For Mom. For all the families she destroyed. Diana needs to know her games are over. As we closed the cafe that night, I looked at the life I'd built from nothing, the success I'd achieved while staying hidden, the strength I'd found in survival. Diana had taught me valuable lessons, though not the ones she'd intended. She taught me patience, strategy, the power of playing dead until the perfect moment to strike. Tomorrow, I would face her across a prison table. She would try to manipulate, bargain, threaten. But she lost her power the moment I stepped out of the shadows. I touched Mom's locket, now restored to its rightful place around my neck. "Watch me finish what you started," I whispered. Some ghosts come back to haunt. Others come back to deliver justice. The prison visiting room was cold and sterile. Nothing like Diana's carefully curated world of luxury. She sat across from me, her perfectly maintained mask cracking at the edges. Without her designer clothes and expensive makeup, she looked smaller, older, desperate. "You grown up beautifully," she said, attempting her old manipulative charm. "I always knew you were the clever one. Save it." I placed Mom's USB drive on the table. "She knew what you were before you killed her." Diana's mask slipped for a moment, revealing something dark and furious underneath. Catherine was naive, like all of them, thinking their money made them untouchable. "Is that what this meeting is about? Confessing to Mom's murder?" She leaned forward, chains clinking. "It's about offering you a deal. There's money even you haven't found. Millions, hidden where no one will ever trace it. Help reduce my sentence, and I'll tell you where." I almost laughed. "You still think you're in control. That's why you failed." "Failed?" Her perfectly plucked eyebrows rose. "I had perfect life for 10 years. Your father's money, his power, his connections. While living in fear that your past would catch up. How many nights did you lie awake, wondering if another stepdaughter was out there, building a case? How many times did you check your fake passports, your escape routes?" She flinched slightly. I pressed on. "The FBI found your storage unit, the one with the trophies. Photos of all your victims, their families. Your private victory collection. Evidence lockers can be broken into," she said softly. "Records can disappear. People can have accidents. Try it," I challenged. "My death made me careful. Everything's backed up, distributed to multiple secure locations. If anything happens to me, Dad, or Emma, it all goes public instantly." "You sound just like your mother," she spat. "She made threats too." Right before her brake lines mysteriously failed. I smiled, pressing the hidden recording button Marcus had given me. "Thank you for that confession. Adds another life sentence to your charges." Her face contorted with rage. She started to stand, but the guards moved forward instantly. "One more thing," I said, reaching into my bag. "Remember Mom's locket? The one you sold." I placed it on the table. "I found all her jewelry. Every piece you stole and traded. Cost me a fortune, but worth it to take back what you thought was gone forever." "You think this is over?" she hissed. "Money can buy anything. Anyone? Even in here." "Not anymore." I stood up. "Your hidden accounts? I found them last night. Every penny is being donated to programs helping victims of domestic violence and financial abuse. Your name will help save the kind of families you destroyed." She lunged then, hands reaching for my throat. But the guards were faster. As they dragged her away, her screams echoed down the corridor. "You're dead. You hear me?" "Dead?" "No," I whispered. "I'm very much alive. And that's your greatest failure." Outside, Dad and Emma waited in the car. "Did she confess?" Emma asked. I held up the recording device to everything, including Mom. Dad's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "It's really over?" "Almost." I showed them my phone, displaying transfer confirmations. Diana's hidden millions are moving to victim support programs right now. Her last secret, her last hope of power, gone. What about the other families? Emma asked. The ones before us? The FBI is contacting them all. Diana's conviction will help them find closure, maybe even recover some of what they lost. Dad started the car, heading toward home, my cafe, where we'd started rebuilding our family. Your mother would be proud, he said softly, of both of you. I touched the locket around my neck, thinking of Mom's investigation, her courage, her sacrifice. She'd seen the monster behind Diana's mask and fought to protect us, even at the cost of her life. The best revenge, I said, isn't just surviving. It's thriving in ways your enemy never imagined possible. Emma squeezed my hand. From fake death to real justice. Not bad for a coffee shop owner. I smiled, watching the prison disappear in the rearview mirror. Diana would spend the rest of her life there, haunted by the stepdaughter she'd failed to destroy, the fortune she'd lost, and the justice she couldn't escape. Sometimes the dead don't just come back.